What is the most obvious lie you have ever been told? My first watch was an Omega and I saved up on high school to get it. One of my good friends back then asked to wear it for one period and would give it back at lunch. He begged and begged, so as a HS kid I gave in or couldn't keep saying no, I guess. Weak on me, obviously. Well, he smashed it, apparently smashed the glass to test it, gave it back and said it was a fake and that's why the glass cracked, and said he didn't do it and it just fell apart. Asshole became a medical doctor and is now involved in politics and holds state office. I'm still pissed about the watch he never admitted he broke cause he was salty and jealous. Dickhead then. Dickhead now. I did not feed your dog any human food, my mom, while my dog pukes and shits all over my house. When a co-worker told my own story back to me as his own. Twice. I speak French, though I'm losing it from lack of use. But one of my college guy friends started dating a girl from France. He was all excited because she could talk to me in her native language and I could help translate. So he brought her to a party at my sorority house and introduced us. I greeted her in French with a very simple, bonjour, bienvenue, comment ça va, which is just hi, welcome, how are you? Blank stare and red face in response. She then said, in what I thought was a kind of strange accent, that she's sorry, she didn't understand me. I looked at the guy and said, I thought you told me she was French? Because maybe she was a different nationality and he was confused. He looked at her and she just turned and left. He followed, then returned a bit later and said he had caught up to her and she started screaming at him in perfect Midwestern accented English that he was a jerk for setting her up to look like a fool. He had genuinely been excited that he could introduce her to someone she could talk to, so he was blown away by her accusations and then angry that she lied. She apparently felt faking an accent would make her more appealing or something. I would see her around on campus after that, but she avoided me like the plague. DBH, I felt bad for her, but if you're going to fake it, at least pick a country with a language you can speak. When I was a kid, the internet wasn't a thing, so my friends were whoever happened to live in the neighborhood. One kid was a well-known liar and exaggerator. We were maybe 14 years old at this time. This kid could play guitar and was always talking himself up about it and talking about his band. He actually could play, but his band did not exist. One day, I called him at his house, from my house. I don't remember what it was about, but a few minutes into the conversation, told me, by the way, I'm in Florida with my band, just out of the blue. This was before even pagers were a common thing. I called him. At his house. I just said something like, okay. And ended the conversation. I then proceeded to tell all the other kids in the neighborhood. In the early 90s I was at work making $5 an hour. And a co-worker looked me straight in the eye and said he had bought a surface-to-air missile from China and kept it stored at his mom's house in a different city. WTF, dude? That's not even close to believable. When I was a public defender, my dipshit client called up his victim from the jail phone the night before his trial. He said kill repeatedly in an attempt to intimidate her. When I was telling him how stupid this was, his excuse was that he was watching Kill Bill and someone changed the channel on the cell block communal TV. That dumbass is now doing 28 years in prison. My friend told me that getting a Peloton changed her life. I looked up her workout stats. She had used it 4 times in 5 months of owning it. Her husband fared a little better with using it 9 times. Don't know why this annoyed me so much. I used to work with a guy that was a serial liar. Couldn't tell the truth if his life depended on it. So many lies, but this is my personal fave background. Keep in mind that at the NFL Combine the 40-yard dash is the standard for speed. 4.5 seconds is great. 4.4 is elite. And the fastest time ever recorded by a prospect is, I believe, 4.24 seconds. This Yutz I worked with claimed that back in his army days, he ran a 4.2 flat in combat boots. Let's just say I'm skeptical. My little girl told everyone in the supermarket that our cat died and she was sad. We don't own a cat. In 5th grade, a friend of ours used to try to convince us he used to hang out with the band Sublime. Among other stuff, he said that he was the person featured on the cover of their self-titled album and he used to do drugs with them and even tried heroin once. We were fucking 11 years old and he claimed this all happened 2 years before he even moved to our school. So yeah, a fucking 9-year-old did all this wild shit. We constantly called bullshit, but he would just continue to lie and make up more stuff. We stopped hanging out with him because he was so full of shit. With my mom, after 11-year-old me accidentally destroyed her favorite vase by throwing my brother's stuffed animals around the living room. I am not mad. When my friend was an infant, her mother put her 2-year-old sibling in her crib while the mom left the room briefly. When mom came back, my friend was crying and had teeth marks on her forehead. When mom asked the older sibling what happened, she calmly said, she bit herself. Used to have a friend that spewed bullshit all the time. Told me her bio parents, who lived together, were divorced and seeing other people, and also that she had 25 siblings. Brought it up to her mom one time, which was an interesting conversation. She also told us she had cancer, and then a week later it was miraculously cured. Edit spelling. We're not playing favorites. In high school a buddy told me that he didn't steal our other buddy's watch. He was wearing the watch when I asked him about it. A childhood friend and I met up for coffee one day after not meeting for a few years. He casually let it slip that ever since he earned a black belt he has had to register with the state as a human weapon. We cannot give you a raise right now, but we will compensate you as soon as the budget allows. Turns out when the budget allows is when you already have another job offer and put in your 2 weeks notice. My brother told me I was a dragon and I totally believed him. Man, I was a dumb kid, but now I'm a dumb adult. I never said you had to sign the document if it wasn't true, says the person with 3 emails telling me to sign a document even after I said it wasn't true sitting on her outbox. Any lieutenant saying that the platoon can go home early on a Friday if you work hard right now. I can finish this Civ game tonight. As a tax accountant, I'm told lies about how much money people actually made all the time during tax season. My favorite was a guy telling me he's broke because he only makes $35,000 a year in NYC, so my very reasonable fee is too much for him. He says this after he asks me if he can deduct the new BMW 5 Series he just bought his son all cash. I did brush my teeth, I swear. My son takes every opportunity to get naked. It's a struggle to get him to even wear underpants half the time. We found him sat around naked one time and asked him where his pants had gone. Bees came in through the window and stole his pants. Lying little shit, everyone knows that's it's gnomes who steal underwear. I was picking up a sofa from a guy I found on Kijiji and he stopped me right before leaving to see if I wanted to buy a mirror he was also looking to get rid of. I wasn't really interested, but my wife seemed keen, so we stopped in the hallway to check it out. He said it was a gift from my son-in-law. It's a beautiful mid-century antique. I'll let it go for $75. He went on about what an amazing mirror it was and even told me pick it up and feel how sturdy it is. I picked it up, it was really heavy actually, and took a peek at the back and saw a sticker from Value Village with a $30 price tag. I kinda chuckled to myself and asked if he would go any lower than $75. He said I really couldn't. Then I said, well, I can see a tag from Value Village on the back here. We ended up getting the mid-century antique mirror for $15 and me and my wife still laugh about the amazing deal we got on it. I had a friend in college who was a serial liar. Just all kinds of crazy things, that must have satisfied some psychological need, all of it harmless. He told me he developed a theory on how to bend light passing through air and pitched the idea to the physics department, which set up an experiment and proved his theory to be true. He was a general studies major. I kept pressing him, well, which professor was it? How did the experiment work? Etc. Just kept digging deeper and changing the subject. Loyalty to a company would be repaid. My ex told me he was in a car accident, totaled his car, broke a few ribs. He was trying to get sympathy so I would get back together with him. Blaming the accident on me, since he was distracted after the breakup. He sent me a photo of his car smashed in. I Google searched it. First pic of his make model that was wrecked. He formulated the story after the picture. But here's the deal. The wheels didn't match. So I drove by his house that evening, car was fixed and in his driveway. Oh yes, I paid the shop extra to get me in today. So I could have my car to come see you if you wanted me to. Ha 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 bro. It wasn't me. We will keep your resume on hand, and let you know if any other positions open up. As a recent graduate job searching, it hurts. Used to play DD with a pathological liar. Side note, he had the most incredible luck with natural 20 rolls. Another thing about this guy is he always tried to act like a macho tough guy too who had been in serious scrapes and such. So one time, unprompted, he said under his breath, but obviously wanting us to hear, "I've got to get this shrapnel out of me." We were just like, "Sure man, whatever you need to do." Edit just remembered another thing he did once that was even better. We were taking a break and several of us had just stepped away from the table, so it was just me, him, and maybe one other person, and he pulled out his phone and did that thing like in the movies where you don't say hi or anything. He was just like, "Talk to me." Pretended to have a very brief conversation and ended it with "I'm on it" or something like that and then hung up. Of the shift managers at the bar we worked at, he was engaged to someone else. The venue manager tried to sexually assault her. Security from our work knew about it but kept it quiet at her request. She pointed at a wedding ad on a bus, couldn't see the model's face, and said the model was her. There was a car accident in the area that killed several teenagers. She claimed that she was with them that night but got out of the car just before the accident, that she could do a bond clean by herself, the clean to get your rental deposit back. Yeah, we had to go back and do it. She didn't do anything. That her dad was verbally abusive. Her sister said he never was. She had her license to be a shift manager was a legal QLD requirement at the time in liquor venues, But she didn't want to tell our workplace cause they would promote her and she didn't want that responsibility.